Welcome to Indiana basketball.
Hoosiers, one of the most beloved sports movies ever made, first hit theaters in 1986, starring Gene Hackman. It was inspired by the true story of a tiny high school basketball team that won the Indiana State Championship by upsetting a much bigger rival. As the movie's 30-year anniversary approaches, Mark Albert introduces us to the team and the town that became real-life legends.
For 106 years, the Hoosiers State has been crowning boys basketball champions, including new ones this weekend in Indianapolis. But no team has jumped into hoops lore here more than the 1954 Mighty Men of Milan. An hour and a half southwest of Indianapolis, Milan is a speck of a town where time seems to dribble by the vast rolling farm fields, where generations have been raised on faith, family, and basketball.
Good to see you.
Yeah. It's that homegrown talent that make the boys, as they're still called, legendary 6 decades after their conquest on the court.
How you doing? For you.
The boys basketball championship team of 54 reunited this month at Plump's Last Shot, the restaurant owned by the Milan Indians' star shooter, Bobby Plump. Plump's two-pointer with 3 seconds left against a powerhouse school 10 times bigger gave Milan the edge and the state title. For a kid who grew up without indoor plumbing or electricity but had a backyard basket, it's the kind of fairy tale that can only be born on the boards in March.
I got a letter from a young man in France 2 months ago asking for my autograph.
From France?
From France.
Their fame almost certainly would not have crossed the Atlantic or even the state line if not for a low-budget movie inspired by their one shining moment.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
Hoosiers, with its star Gene Hackman as the coach, tells the story of an undersized, underfunded, and underestimated high school squad from the fictional Hickory High that defies the odds.
Let me hear it!
It's a fable that uses a Cinderella team to cast a spell of redemption and second chances for the players, the coaches, and the town.
Why did you pick this gym?
Well, look at it. It's iconic.
The film's writer, Angelo Pizzo, and director David Anspaugh, both Indiana natives, sure thought they'd need a second chance, too.
We thought it was a disaster.
You thought this movie was a disaster.
Yes. I volunteered to take myself off the movie at one point.
Why? Well, because there were so many things that went wrong, and we were having so many conflicts with our actors, with each other.
So the 30th anniversary, celebrating that was the last thing on your possible mind.
We didn't think it was going to be releasable.
But when the film dropped into theaters in 1986, it hit nothing but net. The movie grabbed 2 Academy Award nominations, and Sports Illustrated, along with ESPN, later named it one of the top 10 sports films of all time. In fact, each year, thousands of fans of the flick make the pilgrimage to Milan and its Hoosiers Museum.
Then look at our little...
Oh, my gosh.
Where curator Rosalind McKittrick proudly displays the floor-to-ceiling handwritten bracket from 1954, when Milan topped a field of 751 schools.
I think it's proved, that people like good stories, and ours is a good story.
You had the right idea.
And it's become good business. The NBA's Indiana Pacers and many of the 17,000 fans in its arena one night this month donned Hickory jerseys to honor Milan's real-life winners.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1954 Milan Indians.
Did you feel the electricity?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. After 62 years, I did.
Did people talk about it, or is it forgotten?
No, it's talked about all the time, everywhere.
Milan high school students like Connor Miles came to see the legends, and so did Pizzo and Anspaugh, who told us that 30 years ago, they wanted to pay homage to the state's favorite game by using it to make a movie about something else.
I love you guys.
Hoosiers isn't really about basketball.
No, it's not. It doesn't really matter what happens on the field of play. It's all about their internal journeys. It's all about their own obstacles that they overcome, their blind spots that they finally can see.
And these days, no one is seeing clearer
I didn't know you guys were going to be here.
than 1954's Mr. Basketball, Bobby Plum.
You know, Bobby, it strikes me that you sort of seem disbelieving all these years later that everyone is still talking about it.
Well, it is kind of unusual, don't you think?
But perhaps that means how much it has meant to so many people here.
That has finally come through to me, because the real true benefit of 53 and 54 was that it expanded everybody's horizons.
So you're saying without that shot, without that championship, perhaps you and your teammates wouldn't be the people you are today?
I don't think there's any question about that.
It changed your life.
No question. No question.
For these boys and this state, it's a 62-year-old buzzer beater that's still sinking in. For CBS This Morning Saturday, Mark Albert, Milan, Indiana.
Yeah, it's still a great story. You know, back in 1954, Milan High had an enrollment of 162 students. The opposing team, had an enrollment in that school of 1,662.
Wow, so it's like 1 to 10.
Yeah, it doesn't get any more David and Goliath than that.
How many people are going to watch Hoosiers now this weekend?
Yeah, right.